You float through the hatch into a world where up doesn't exist. Your stomach lurches. Your inner ear screams confusion. You're 254 miles above Earth, and gravity just abandoned you. Welcome to your first 48 hours on the International Space Station. The journey starts long before you see the station. After launching from Earth strapped to 1.2 million pounds of rocket fuel, you've spent the last 6 hours crammed inside a Soyuz or Crew Dragon capsule. Your body is already exhausted from the G-forces of launch. You haven't eaten a real meal. You're running on adrenaline and nerves. Then you see it through the window. The International Space Station, a gleaming structure of solar panels and modules, growing larger against the black void of space. It looks impossibly fragile. Thin aluminum walls are all that separate the crew inside from instant death. Your capsule approaches slowly. The docking procedure takes precision that would make a surgeon jealous. You're matching speeds with something moving at 17,500 miles per hour. One mistake, one miscalculation, and you could damage the station or miss the docking port entirely. The final approach happens in near silence. You hear the thrusters firing, small puffs of gas adjusting your trajectory. Your heart pounds as the distance closes. 50 feet, 20 feet, 10 feet. Then, contact. Metal meets metal with a thud you feel through your entire body. The docking clamps engage with mechanical precision. You hear the hiss of pressure equalization. After years of training and preparation, you've arrived. But you're not aboard yet. The crew has to verify the seal is airtight. They check pressure readings. They confirm there are no leaks. This takes time. You're floating in your capsule, so close to your destination, but still separated by a hatch. Finally, the call comes. The hatch is clear to open. One of the veteran crew members on the other side begins the unlocking sequence. You hear the mechanical sounds of latches releasing. The hatch swings open, and then you float through into a completely alien world. The first thing that hits you isn't what you see, it's what you hear and smell. The station is loud. Fans run constantly, circulating air that would otherwise form a deadly bubble of carbon dioxide around your head. Pumps hum. Equipment beeps. The background noise is relentless, a mechanical symphony that never stops. The smell is unforgettable. It's metallic, like hot electronics mixed with the faint odor of cleaning supplies. Some astronauts describe it as the smell of space itself, brought in on spacesuits after spacewalks. Others say it smells like burnt steak or welding fumes. Your nose will adapt, but right now it's overwhelming. Then there's the visual chaos. Cables run everywhere. Equipment covers every surface. There's no floor, no ceiling, just surfaces in all directions. Labels in English, Russian, and Japanese compete for attention. Warning signs, procedure cards, and equipment tags create a visual maze. Your brain struggles to process it all. On Earth, you have constant reference points. The floor is down, the ceiling is up. Your inner ear and eyes work together to tell you where you are in space. Here, those systems are screaming contradictory information. You try to move forward and immediately tumble. There's nothing to push against. You reach for a handhold and overshoot, sending yourself spinning slowly. Veteran crew members float past you with effortless grace, their movements precise and controlled. You feel like a newborn learning to walk, except in 3 dimensions. The station modules stretch out in different directions. The US segment connects to the Russian segment. Japanese and European modules branch off. It's a maze of cylindrical tunnels, each about 15 feet in diameter. You can see down the length of the station, modules connected like train cars, but your brain can't quite make sense of the geometry. Your escort, usually the station commander, guides you to your sleeping quarters. This is where reality truly hits. You're assigned a crew quarter, essentially a phone booth-sized compartment attached to one of the module walls. It measures roughly 6 feet tall by 3 feet wide. This is your bedroom for the next 6 months. Inside, there's a sleeping bag attached to the wall, except there is no wall. In zero gravity, any surface can be a wall, floor, or ceiling. Your sleeping bag is tethered because without it, you'd float around the station while unconscious, potentially drifting into equipment or other crew members. You get a small laptop, a few personal storage bags, and that's it. The entire space is smaller than a closet. Privacy comes from a thin partition you can pull across the opening. When you're inside with that partition closed, you're in your own world, but you can hear everything happening outside. The fans, the conversations, the constant activity of a space station that never sleeps. Personal items are limited to what you could fit in a small bag during launch. Photos of family, maybe a favorite book. A few comfort items that passed NASA's strict safety requirements. Everything else you own is 254 miles below you. The crew quarters are stacked in Node 2 called Harmony, 4 phone booth bedrooms in a module the size of a school bus. You share this space with people from different countries, different backgrounds, all crammed together in the most isolated location humans have ever inhabited. That first attempt to sleep is memorable. You climb into your sleeping bag, which is really just a thin fabric sack attached to the wall. You zip it up, and then your brain goes haywire. There's no lying down. You're not on a bed. You're floating inside a bag, and your body has no idea what to do with this information. Your inner ear, which has spent your entire life detecting gravity, is sending error messages to your brain. You feel like you're falling constantly, but you never hit the ground. Some astronauts experience space motion sickness during these first hours. Your stomach churns. You might feel nauseous. About half of all astronauts get sick during their first few days in space. It's your body's way of protesting this completely unnatural environment. The station never gets truly dark. Equipment lights glow. Sunrises happen every 90 minutes as you orbit Earth. The station passes from daylight to darkness to daylight again, 16 times every 24 hours. Your circadian rhythm doesn't know what to do. The noise continues. Those fans never stop. Pumps keep running. You hear crew members moving around working different shifts. The station operates 24 hours a day because experiments don't stop, systems need constant monitoring, and someone always has to be awake in case of emergency. You might sleep for an hour, maybe 2. Then you wake up disoriented. Where are you? Which way is up? You open your eyes and see your sleeping bag floating around you. Right, you're in space. Many astronauts report that they don't sleep well for the first week. Your body is adapting to an environment it was never designed for, but exhaustion eventually wins. You drift off, floating in your phone booth bedroom, 254 miles above the only home humanity has ever known. Around 6 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, the station comes alive. The crew operates on GMT to coordinate with mission control centers around the world. Lights come on. The daily planning conference is about to begin. You drag yourself out of your sleeping quarters. Your body feels strange. Your face is puffy because fluids that normally pool in your legs are now distributed evenly throughout your body. You look in a mirror and barely recognize yourself. Your face is swollen. Your sinuses feel congested. This is called fluid shift, and it affects every astronaut. The bathroom situation presents its own challenges. The station has 2 toilets, one in the US segment and one in the Russian segment. These aren't your typical toilets. They use airflow instead of water to move waste. You have to position yourself precisely over a hole about 4 inches in diameter. Miss your target, and you've created a biohazard in 0 gravity. Showering doesn't exist. Instead, you get a washcloth, some no-rinse soap, and a small amount of water. You wet the cloth, soap up, and wipe yourself down. The water clings to your skin in weird ways. You have to towel off carefully because water droplets floating around the station can damage electronics. Brushing your teeth means swallowing the toothpaste or spitting it into a towel. There's no sink, no running water. Everything has to be carefully controlled because liquids behave completely differently in 0 gravity. Your first breakfast aboard is an experience. The galley is a small area with a table that has footholds underneath so you can anchor yourself while eating. Food comes in pouches, cans, and dehydrated packages. You add hot water to rehydrate meals. Everything has to be eaten carefully because crumbs float and can get into equipment or someone's eyes. The food isn't bad. NASA has worked hard to make meals palatable. You've got options: scrambled eggs, sausage, fruit, coffee, but everything tastes slightly off. Your sense of taste is diminished in space because of the fluid shift affecting your sinuses. Many astronauts load up on hot sauce and spicy foods to compensate. By your first full day aboard, you're expected to start contributing. The station isn't a vacation destination, it's a workplace, and there's always work to be done. Your training on Earth covered the basics, but now you're learning the real job. Your first tasks are usually simple: inventory checks, moving cargo from the recently docked spacecraft, learning where everything is stored. The station has thousands of items, and knowing where to find a specific tool or piece of equipment is crucial. You're assigned a mentor, usually a veteran crew member who's been aboard for a few months. They show you the ropes, how to move efficiently through the modules, where the emergency equipment is located, how to use the communication systems to talk with mission control. The station is divided into different segments with different responsibilities. The US segment focuses on research. The Russian segment handles life support and propulsion. The Japanese module, Kibo, is the largest single module and serves as a laboratory. The European Columbus module adds more research capacity. You float through these areas, trying to memorize layouts, procedures, and protocols. Everything has a place. Everything has a procedure. In an environment where mistakes can be fatal, organization isn't optional. The research happening aboard is incredible. Scientists are studying how the human body adapts to space. They're growing crystals that can't form in Earth's gravity. They're testing new materials and technologies. Some experiments run automatically, but many require crew intervention. Your job might involve checking on plant growth experiments, adjusting equipment settings, or collecting biological samples. The work is fascinating, but it's also demanding. You're learning to operate complex equipment while floating, using tools that behave differently without gravity. During your first 48 hours, you participate in mandatory safety briefings. These aren't casual meetings. They're life or death serious. The station faces threats that would terrify most people. Fire is the ultimate nightmare. In zero gravity, flames form spheres instead of rising upward. They can spread in any direction. The station has sophisticated fire detection and suppression systems, but a serious fire could force evacuation. You learn where the fire extinguishers are located. You practice the procedures until they're automatic. Ammonia leaks are another major threat. The station's cooling system uses toxic ammonia. A leak could contaminate the atmosphere and kill everyone aboard. You learn to recognize the smell, though by the time you smell it, you're already in danger. The procedures for ammonia leaks involve sealing off sections and potentially evacuating to the Soyuz or Crew Dragon capsules. Depressurization is the scenario that haunts every astronaut. A micrometeorite puncturing the hull, a seal failing, sudden loss of pressure. You learn where the emergency masks are stored. You practice sealing off modules. You know that if the worst happens, you have minutes to act. Medical emergencies are complicated by the lack of hospitals. The station has medical equipment and trained crew members, but serious injuries or illnesses could be fatal. The nearest hospital is 254 miles away and requires a multi-hour return journey through the hostile environment of space. These briefings make clear what you already knew intellectually, but now understand viscerally. You're living in one of the most dangerous places humans have ever inhabited. The margin for error is zero. By the end of your first 48 hours, something remarkable happens. You start to adapt. Your brain begins accepting that up and down don't exist. Your movements become slightly less clumsy. You can push off a wall and actually arrive where you intended. The nausea fades for most astronauts. Your inner ear stops screaming. Your body starts figuring out this new reality. You're not graceful yet, but you're functional. You've learned the basic layout of the station. You know where your work area is. You've figured out the bathroom. You can prepare a meal without creating a floating disaster. These small victories feel enormous. The view becomes your refuge. During breaks, you float to the cupola, a 7-window observatory module that offers 360-degree views of Earth. You watch your home planet slide by beneath you. Continents, oceans, weather systems, all visible in stunning clarity. The view never gets old. You see 16 sunrises and sunsets every day. You watch lightning storms from above. You see the thin blue line of atmosphere that protects all life on Earth. The perspective is overwhelming. Every astronaut talks about this view changing them fundamentally. The camaraderie aboard becomes apparent. These people you're living with, they're not just coworkers. They're your family for the next 6 months. You depend on each other for survival. The bonds formed in this environment are unlike anything on Earth. You start to understand why astronauts describe spaceflight as addictive. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, you're living in a cramped cylinder with recycled air and limited privacy. But you're also doing something that fewer than 600 humans in all of history have done. You're living in space. Your first 48 hours on the International Space Station transform you. You've survived the arrival, adapted to zero gravity, and begun the work. You're no longer just an astronaut. You're a member of humanity's most exclusive club.